What do Roman legionaries, passengers of the Titanic, and Oliver Twist have in common? Gruel. Yes, gruel. For some, it was daily sustenance, for others a quick pick-me-up, and for others still, literally the only thing that they could eat. Gruel may sound mysterious or possibly even gross, but its importance in our history cannot be overstated. This stuff was just vital. Gruel is nutritious, extremely inexpensive, and easy to make. It predates modern civilization and could very well be one of mankind's earliest recipes. Yet gruel can still be relevant today, and believe it or not, you've probably even had it at some point in your life. Today I'm going to tell you all about gruel, show you 3 ways to make it, and why you might just want to do so. We'll call today's episode The School of Gruel. Hello and welcome to I Want to Cook. My name is Chef Matt and this channel is all about helping you be a better cook. And today we are making gruel, which might lead you to your first question, what is gruel? So yeah, I know it sounds kind of weird, but gruel is actually really simple. Gruel is a liquid food. It's kind of like porridge, like an oatmeal, but thinner. So it's thinner than porridge, but it's thicker than a broth. It sits somewhere in between those two. Gruel is made by boiling cereal flour such as oats, corn, wheat, or rice in a liquid like water, milk, or stock. It's pretty much as simple as that. Grind, pound, or pulverize a grain until it's flour, then boil that in liquid to yield something that's less viscous than porridge. If the consistency is thin enough to drink as well as slurp with a spoon, you've got gruel. Now, you probably don't hear much about gruel these days. You won't find it being made on the Food Network, and you probably won't even find it in most modern cookbooks. But the historical significance of gruel cannot be overstated. Truth be told, in researching gruel for this episode, I really couldn't find it in any of my cookbooks. But I did find it in one. I had to bust out the mother of them all. This is Larousse Gastronomique, the encyclopedia of food, and sure enough, it had an entry on gruel. According to its entry, the Egyptians made gruel from our old friend millet, as well as barley and wheat, while the aforementioned Roman legionaries made it from wheat and spelt. The Germans did it with oats, which is one way that we'll make it today, and yes, according to a menu from the Titanic, third-class passengers were served gruel as a late-night snack. I'm guessing they didn't have Haagen-Dazs back then. But a quick peek at Wikipedia shows that gruel goes back even farther than that. In fact, it predates modern written records. It goes back to our hunter-gatherer ancestors, and that makes sense, because some of the first cookware, as we might know it today, were simply rudimentary pots that could be placed over a fire or even have hot rocks dropped in to boil liquid. So our old ancestors could simply get some sort of grain, pound it down, put it in the pot with liquid, and well, you get gruel. A nourishing meal that could supplement meat, fruits, or whatever else was in their diet at the time. But fast forward thousands of years to where we are today, and one has to wonder, is gruel even relevant? I mean, in an age where we have instant pots that can cook meals for us and air fryers that can crisp things in minutes, well, gruel, I mean, of all things, who would want to make that? Well, gruel is still relevant, and like I said in that intro, you've probably had it at some point in your life. If you've ever eaten, let's say, cream of wheat or cream of rice, especially made thin, well, you've had a form of gruel. One could also contend that pea soup is a form of gruel as well, albeit one made with legumes instead of grains. Perhaps most importantly, gruel is an easy food to eat because, well, you don't really have to eat it. I mean, you can drink this stuff from a mug. Gruel can also be made savory or sweet to, well, satisfy a variety of taste and applications. Gruel can provide sustenance and nourishment if you're feeling ill, and it can help those who don't have the ability to chew. I remember when I had my wisdom teeth taken out as a teenager, well, I think I survived on mugs of cream of wheat. Now yes, gruel might have a negative connotation as a word. We call something difficult grueling, but there's no reason why it can't be made tasty. I mean, after all, if you can make oatmeal flavorful and delicious for breakfast, well, you can do the same with gruel. So here's how to make gruel easily and quickly. And again, while you can make it with just about any type of grain, we're going to make it with 3 of them today. We're going to make it with corn, oats, and rice. So let's get our gruel going. Now, a corn-based gruel is potentially the easiest to make, and you might have what's needed in your cupboard, because all you need is cornmeal. You'll remember we used this stuff when we were making Johnny cakes and corn sticks, and well, this stuff is readily available on store shelves. By the way, I'll put links to those videos in the description below. But you don't have to grind this stuff, you don't have to do anything to it. It's there, it's ready to go, and often it's fortified with vitamins and minerals, which means it's nutritious as well. So all you need is cornmeal and some type of liquid. For these, we're simply going to use water. First, we'll bring a pot of water to a boil. Here I'm using a 3-quart pot. And just as if we were cooking rice or pasta, we'll add some salt to the water for seasoning. Now, simply pour in the cornmeal. There are no hard and fast rules as far as ratios for gruel, but again, you want a thinner consistency, so just kind of eyeball it. Now, as you can see here, I initially stirred in the cornmeal with a spoon, but well, I probably should have used a whisk because there were some clumps. So if you do that, just go back in and use a whisk to get rid of any clumps of the cornmeal. From here, simply cover the pot and cook for about 30 minutes. You will want to stir often though, and make sure you scrape the bottom of the pan to make sure nothing is sticking. After about 30 minutes, give the corn gruel a taste and make sure everything tastes cooked. From here, you can serve as is, or you can doctor it up however you like. You can add some milk or cream, sugar, maple syrup, or you could go for a savory bent with some savory spices. You can use this in any way that you might want to use a similar cornmeal mush porridge. For our next gruel application, we're going to use these old-fashioned oats for an oat-based gruel. Now, yeah, I suppose you could just put the flakes in boiling water and just boil and boil and boil, but you really want a thin consistency for this. So that is super easy. All you have to do is put the flakes in a blender and then grind them up. That's essentially going to give you oat flour. And the great thing about this recipe is that it cooks even quicker than the cornmeal gruel, because you might remember that these oats, they're actually already cooked. Once oats are rolled, they're steamed. So these things are already cooked, which means a quick cooking time, even for the old-fashioned rolled style oats. So we'll use the same process here. We'll bring a pot of water to the boil. We'll add some salt, and then we will stir in our homemade oat flour. Here you can see this time I'm using a whisk just to make getting rid of any clumps a lot easier. Once again, cover the pot and let our oats cook. Now here you don't need to cook them that long. In fact, this will be done in about 10 minutes, but be sure that you are whisking often. And just like that, we now have oat gruel. Once again, you can season this however you like, and you can thin it out with milk if you want something even thinner. I should note that just as the cornmeal gruel tasted like a thinner version of cornmeal mush, the oat gruel tasted, well, like a thinner portion of oatmeal. And I should also note that the oat gruel got rave reviews by, well, every member of our household. And lastly, we will make a rice-based gruel. Now, yes, you could use something store-bought like this cream of rice, which you just basically boil in water or milk and get a creamy rice-based gruel, but I found another way to do it. It's just by getting some enriched rice like this and, well, just blending it up in the blender when it's dry to essentially make a rice flour. Then it's, well, simply boiling it in water to make gruel. And the great thing about this is, well, it's enriched. So don't rinse this rice before you grind it up in the blender to get that flour because, well, all the minerals and all the vitamins are in this, and you will get a nutritious gruel. So once again, bring a pot of water to the boil, add some salt, and now with your blended up rice, simply whisk that into the boiling water. You'll want to once again whisk out any clumps, put a lid on the pot. This time I set it ajar because it was bubbling quite a bit, and then let it cook. This also doesn't take long to cook, only about 10 minutes, and then you will have rice gruel. In addition to enjoying these gruels as is, don't be afraid to get creative with gruel. For example, you could experiment with making a sauce from gruel, or you can even use it as a thickener in place of a roux or cornstarch slurry. So there you go. That's what gruel is all about, and 3 easy ways to make it. Have you ever had gruel? Is this something that maybe your family makes or maybe you had as a child? I want to know your grueling stories, so be sure to put that in the comments below. But hopefully this video is interesting and, well, might just lead you to make some gruel for you and your family, possibly pets included. Okay, trivia time. Last week I asked you to identify this strange looking vessel. No, you don't make gruel in it. You make, well, fish. Several of you correctly identified this as a fish poacher / fish steamer, a very interesting device for cooking long fillets of fish. Should we cook fish in one of these? Let me know if you want a video on how to use a fish poacher, and, well, I'll put that on the docket to make. For this week's culinary trivia, we've got another interesting cooking vessel. What is this thing? It's a cast iron vessel. What is this and what is it used for? If you know the correct answer or have a guess, put it in the comments below, and I will, of course, let you know what this thing is in the next episode. As always, thank you so much for watching. Thank you for subscribing. Until next time, I hope you want to cook.